We've been living here for about 10 months and everything's all settled down. We've got guests in our guest house. They're staying for 4 nights. This is going to be their 3rd night tonight. They really enjoy it. I don't know what the power bill is going to be like at the end of the month because they've got the aircon cranking on both rooms every hour. Anyway, I was just thinking about, well, in a couple of months I'm going back to New Zealand anyway to just visit and then come back here. And I've just been thinking of the things that I don't really miss from New Zealand. Not saying that it's a bad thing, not saying that New Zealand is a bad place. I'm not dissing New Zealand. There are plenty of people that lives in New Zealand and are 100% happy with where they live. But this is just something that I have noticed while living here, which I would never miss from New Zealand again. So the first thing I would like to say is I wouldn't miss the shop looking like prisoners. The dairies that I used to go to when I left New Zealand, they look like prison cell. One shop in Blackburn Street in Dinsdale, where I used to go to quite a bit, they just had cages all around the countertop, they had cages all around the windows, and that's because of the amount of crime that's been happening in New Zealand, or the ram raid, or the dairy, or the shop, people going in and smashing with a hammer, smashing jewelry shops and stealing all the money and all the jewelries, and nobody does anything about it. They get arrested, get a smack in the hand, and that's it. Over here, the shop don't look like prisoners. They just look like normal shop. Everything, some of the shop items are just left out on the footpath, and all they do is just cover it. And the locals, they just walk by, and you know, there's like things that you can literally steal in the middle of the night, but people don't steal it. It's amazing. I leave my motorbike key and my motorbike for like 2 nights and it doesn't get stolen. That's how crazy safe it is just in my area. Not saying Thailand is like that everywhere, but just in my area, the shops, they don't even bring things inside, they just cover it and nobody takes anything. Another thing that I won't miss from New Zealand is the amount of control that the government have on you. Okay, I know that this is that period where we had COVID and things, you know, they had plenty of control over us, but it's just not just that, you know, they're trying to control what car you drive now, you know, giving tax to utes and tax to petrol cars. Of course, you know, everybody knows they can control what kind of drugs you take and you know, those kind of thing. And also they're starting to control the amount of money that you earn, you know, saying that, oh, we're going to put the bank rates up so that you pay more for your mortgage, so you pay less for yourself. That's what's been going on, so that they can curb inflation. You know, there's a lot of control over there that, you know, that's happening. Over here, I guess the only control that I have to deal with, just for myself, not for my kids, for my wife, it's just immigration, just for me to do my visa report every 3 months, and that's all. Okay, aside from that, I get left alone. I can do whatever I want. So that's one thing I won't miss from New Zealand, is how much control is going on there. Number 3 that I won't miss, and I'm going to get some hate and I'm going to get some people strongly agreeing with what I'm agreeing, is that I won't miss the way that the Western world is going with the rainbow community, the LGBTQ alphabet people, blah blah blah. Okay, I know that in Thailand there's a lot of ladyboys, and I shouldn't be saying anything about it because there's so much trans people here. But to be quite honest, I don't see much trans people here. They're not in your face kind of thing, you know. They just lived on with their lives and that's it. They don't annoy you. But the movement that's going on in New Zealand and the Western culture is really getting out of hand in my point of view. So what I mean is that you've got boys playing in women's sports. I mean, come on, New Zealand has sent over a male powerlifter to compete in a female division at the Olympic. Otago Sportswoman of the Year went to a male, that kind of thing. I wouldn't get upset about it if I didn't have any kids, but because I've got one girl, you know, if I was living in New Zealand and there's a male going into her locker room, I wouldn't be very happy, you know, a male going into her restroom, you know, the toilets and stuff. So there's things like that, you know, you've got sports, the restroom, you've got, I mean, those drag queen story hour thing doesn't concern us. We'll never take our kids there, but it's just it's just getting out of hand in my view. Alright, and that's just my own personal thing. It's just I don't want that to be so in your face. I mean, I don't want to be walking around the street and see gay flags everywhere. That's what I mean. Around here you don't see gay flags everywhere. Maybe if you go to Bangkok, Phuket, you'll see pride flags everywhere because it's so westernized in some areas, but over here it's not too bad. I mean, if you're gay, be gay, I don't care, but don't try to, you know, be right in my face and demand that I use the right pronouns and say that you're this and that when you're not. Number 4, as everybody knows, is that the housing market was quite high. Well, what's happening now is that the housing market is coming down, but the interest rate is high, so it kind of balances it out. You know, you can't really afford to buy a house. I mean, first home buyers are struggling to buy a house. Everybody knows about that, just the housing. Yeah, unless you've got a really good job and you're getting paid a lot, that's the only way that you can afford to buy a house, or if you get extra income from your parents or whatever. Number 5 that I don't miss from New Zealand is the price of food. I mean, everything here is cheap. I can buy a meal for $1 and just eat it with rice and I'll be happy, and that can feed 2 or 3 people. Over in New Zealand, I looked at some news and it says that within 1 year the price of food went up by 12%. And the thing is, because the minimum wage has been raised up, those prices of food isn't going to go down. It's just going to keep going up. And the thing is, when people visiting from America or from other parts of the country, they come to New Zealand, they're going to think, wow, just going to shop and buying food and beverage is way more expensive than their hometown, their homeland. So that's one thing I'll never miss. Number 6 that I don't miss from New Zealand is paying for something you don't use. I mean, we used to pay for rates, we used to pay for insurance that we don't use, but we have to. We used to pay for, you know, ACC levy. Like if I had a motorbike, I would pay 500 New Zealand dollars per year, and some of that would go to ACC levy because of, you know, motorbikes are more dangerous. But over here, you know, you pay for what you use. A man comes by and say, oh, here's your rubbish bill, you know, here's $1 per month for them to go and collect rubbish every week. Of course you pay for power, you pay for water, but aside from that, there's nothing else that you get asked to pay for aside from what you actually use every day. Unlike New Zealand, you have to pay for parks, you got to pay for transport, you got to pay for this and you got to pay for that. Over here, if you earn less than a certain amount, which my wife does with the rentals and stuff, we don't need to pay tax because you earn so less, so that's a good thing. this is definitely something that I will never miss in New Zealand, that I am experiencing here, and that is rules. There's so many rules in New Zealand. Over here I feel, even though I'm not legally supposed to be a permanent residency here, I just get it renewed every year, but I feel so much freedom because there's so less rules here, you know. We've got our kids just on the back of the ute, not the back seat, I mean the back tray of the ute, just riding around town. Our bikes don't have any registration. There's no such thing as a Warner Fitness. We don't need to pay anything like that. But we don't need to worry about speeding ticket. I can go 120 k's per hour if I'm in the rush. I can go 50 k's per hour in a 100 k zone. It doesn't matter. There's less rules here. I don't need to worry about, you know, road rules, getting pulled over by police. I don't need to worry about, it just feels so much freedom just to do whatever you want to do and just not be harassed by authorities. Number 8 things that I don't miss from New Zealand is dealing with computers. Oh my god, you go to Countdown, you've got a self-serve checkout, you know. You try to phone somebody, you get put onto a computer anyway. For this, you click A, you know, you dial A for this service, you dial, just let me talk to a person, you know, and it just goes on and on. Over here, we never pump our own petrol. I never had to go out and just pull a petrol pump and put it in. There's always someone, a staff there to help you. Every time you go to a hardware shop, like, you know how there's Bunnings Warehouse, over here we've got Home Pro or Global House. You know, there's always staff there ready to help. Like, they'll wait there at the door and they'll be like, what do you want? But in a nice way. And there'll be like 4 of them saying, what do you want? You know, you can get things pretty quick. So there's no self-serve checkouts here. It's all done by people. When you phone somewhere, you want to deal with something, it's always people. You don't get put on hold, you know. So that's one thing that I really like here, is that you get served by people and not by computers and machines. Most of the time people here use cash. It's just cash. It's hardly any EFTPOS cards or anything like that. It's mainly cash, and if it's big sum, we just do internet banking, which goes in instantly, no matter what bank, no matter what organization, no matter whether it's Saturday, Sunday. If it's Sunday and you go out and buy a piece of furniture and they said, oh, we can do phone banking, it'll just go in straight away. Number 9 is something that you're going to start noticing when I tell you, and that is road cones. Everywhere we go in New Zealand, we go on a road trip, we go on a holiday, we go to South Island, every 10 kilometers, there's road cones everywhere. They're always trying to rebuild the road, or there's something wrong with the road, and it just holds you up. It's just road cones, road cones, road cones. And the thing that annoys you is, you know, there'll be road cones, but there'll be nobody working on it. It'll be there for like a few months, a year, and they'll just be there. I really hate that when I was traveling around in New Zealand. Road cones, you know, it should be not the land of the long white clouds, it should be the land of the long orange road cones. That's what it should be. I mean, it'll be good if they can fix the road, get it fixed, and then carry on with another road, and then fix that and carry on with another road. But what they do is let's fix it halfway and leave it, and then fix another part and leave it, and then 10 kilometers later fix another part and leave it, and I'll never miss that. The next part is, it's not a biggie because I've got tough skin, it's just racism. I'm not complaining. I mean, I understand how the world works. If you look a little bit different, you will get a little bit of racism. I mean, yeah, that's just the way things work. But it's just recently, for example, our family was going on a push bike trip, and my son was going, just crossing the road, crossing the road to Pekingese, and this car came swerving in and almost hit my son. And you know, my son is just a kid. You know, kids do make mistakes. They can't tell when to cross the road, that kind of thing, or they didn't know how fast they were coming. And then we got into an argument, and the person said, "Oh, you go back to your own country." And I said, "Yeah, we are going back to our own country." But the thing is, you know, racism will still be there. And to be quite honest, I kind of like racism because it fires me up and makes me a better person, makes me stronger. But for some people, it might not be that case. But for me, personally, I like racism. So I don't know why I put that in there. But for other people that might come back to their place where they look the same, you know, and then go back, that may be one thing that they won't miss is the racism. One thing I do miss from New Zealand is all the good people down there. With their sense of humour is way better than the sense of humour here. I can't crack a joke here, nobody understands. I like I still like the Kiwi food. I like the outdoor nature of things. There's still a lot of things I love about New Zealand, but just those 10 things that I mentioned, I'll never miss them. I'm actually glad that I don't miss them.